Hi everyone, welcome back. In today's video we're talking about heat transfer vinyl and why you need to mirror it within Cricut Design Space before you cut it out. Here we have our two types of vinyl. So we've got self-adhesive vinyl here, which as we can see is shiny at the top, and on the back it has a paper sheet to protect it. And here we have heat transfer vinyl. Heat transfer vinyl has a shiny carrier sheet on the front, and at the back we can see the material is actually quite dull. These two types of vinyl cut out very differently. With the self-adhesive vinyl, we place the vinyl with the paper carrier sheet down onto the mat and we secure it down. And when we place it into the Cricut machine, it's only going to cut out the top layer of vinyl. So when we read it, we will have the vinyl that we want left and we will have the paper sheet underneath. Then we can use the transfer tape and transfer it over. But with the heat transfer vinyl, we're going to place the shiny carrier sheet down onto the Cricut cutting mat. We're going to secure that down. That means then that when we go to cut out our design, we need to cut it out in reverse, because we are cutting through the back of the material as opposed to the self-adhesive vinyl where we're cutting to the front part of the vinyl. So we're cutting to the back of it, so we need to make sure it's in reverse, and that's because when we read the heat transfer vinyl, it stays on the carrier sheet, and if we was to place it with the dull side down and the shiny side up, then all we would achieve is cutting through the carrier sheet, and that's not what we need to do. That's the main reason why when we are using any type of heat transfer vinyl, whether that's metallic, puff, just ordinary heat transfer vinyl, we must always mirror our designs and make sure that when we place heat transfer vinyl onto our cutting mat, that the shiny side is face down and the dull side is to the top, and we are always going to cut in reverse. Now we understand why the vinyl needs to be placed as it is onto the Cricut cutting mats. We're now in Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to show you at which point you need to mirror the vinyl. So here I've typed in heat transfer vinyl. Now when we click on make it, now we can see we're on the next screen, which is to prepare our mats. And here we can see the text heat transfer vinyl. That is showing you where you will place your vinyl on your mat, because that is where the Cricut is going to cut it out. If that was going to be self-adhesive vinyl, then that would be fine. We could pop the vinyl onto the cutting mat and then just click continue and go through to select the materials. However, because we're using heat transfer vinyl, we now need to come down to the little toggle here where it says mirror, and we need to make sure that that is selected. And now we can see that on the screen it has now reversed our text, and that's because it's going to cut it out from the back, not through the carrier sheet. We're just going to cut through the vinyl and the carrier sheet will remain intact. And that is why it's important at this point, if you're using any type of heat transfer vinyl, to mirror the text. If however you're doing lots of projects using the same vinyl and you think you might forget, the other way of doing it is, when the text is on the canvas, is to flip the text horizontally and then click on make it, and there we can see now the text is already reversed. And for some people that might be an easy way to always remember to mirror any type of heat transfer vinyl, and I think that is a good way. If you are doing the same project over and over again, then you can just load in the material and just keep clicking continue, and you don't need to worry about mirroring the vinyl. I hope that's helped you understand the difference between self-adhesive vinyl and heat transfer vinyl and why they are placed differently onto the cutting mats. And I also hope that my little trick of how to flip the text horizontally before you go to make it might be a good way of remembering to always make sure that heat transfer vinyl has been mirrored. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.